pandemic. This conference is organized by the Department of Economics, Management, Industrial Engineering and Tourism, DG of the University of Aveiro. With me in this open session are, and I would like to thank them, Professor Artur Silva, Vice Rector of Research University, Vice Rector for Research in University of Aveiro. Thank you to be with us and to accepting to be with us. Professor José Sarfils Cabral, President of APJ, Portuguese Association for Industrial Engineering and Management. It's not the correct translation, but it's almost there. I'm almost there. Thank you also for accepting to be with us. The last but not the least, Professor Pedro Saraiva, President of Portuguese Association for Quality. Thank you for the support to our conference and for accepting to be with us. As I said, this is the third international conference on quality, innovation and sustainability. Our main aim is to disseminate knowledge and exchange a good practice among researchers, not only researchers, but professionals. For example, the major example is the PRIO. Our aim is on quality, as I said, innovation, but with special focus on sustainability. Sustainability is a broad word, but this word needed to be well defined and contextualized. In this edition, we have we'll have more than 100 of participants, around 50 presentations, a roundtable powered by PRIO, our premier sponsor. The subject is around maritime decarbonization. We have also 4 keynote speakers. Professor Otávio Oliveira, Head of the Production Department, São Paulo State University. Joana Lobo Antunes, Head of Communication from University of Lisboa, namely Technical Eiger Institute. Marina Ranga, Joint Research Center from Joint Research Center European Commission, and Paulo Rena, Associate Professor and Vice Rector for Quality at Universidade degli Studi della Basilicata. Probably Professor Paulo is not with us, and she will forgive me for if I said the wrong translation of this kind of university. This is the time to give the word to our collaborators in this session, namely first of them, Professor Artur Silva, Vice Rector of Research for Research at the University of Aveiro, our home. Please, Professor.
Thank you, João. Good morning to all of you. And I would say welcome to the University of Aveiro, although in these electronic means. I hope that in the near future we can have this meeting face to face. It's better because we are realizing that we are needing the to have the meetings and also to return to our normal life. And since the pandemic, it seems that it's, well, developing in another way. Perhaps it will be possible in the near future. So I'm very happy to be here with you because there is 3 words in the title of this conference that it's very concerned, or that the university are concerned about, that is quality, innovation, and sustainability. Not only in one research unit like GovCop, where João and the major part of the organizer are involved, the organizer from the University of Aveiro, I'm saying. But this, the guarantee control of the university, the guarantee control of each one of our 20 research units that we have, but also the innovation, because being the University of Aveiro, research-driven university, that are, of course, related with innovation, with the patents that we are doing, with the transfer of knowledge to the companies, to the industry nearby. So this is very important for us, and it's one of our goals. And also about sustainability. It's interesting because I'm a chemist, as most of you know, and we have a PhD program in sustainable chemistry. It's only one aspect that I would like to highlight, that it's this sustainability is an important word for all our research units. I refer only one these small aspects, but it's important to highlight this. Of course, if I refer our 20 research units, because it's an aspect that the vice rector or likes to highlight in all these conferences, because I'm very proud to be the vice rector for research and innovation, because we have all our research units classified as excellent, very good. So this is something that we would like to highlight to all of you. And being now to the conference, I look to the conference. You have an excellent program, a program that it's not only focused on these 3 words, but it's let's say a transdisciplinary program, because I realize that you have not only quality, innovation, and sustainability, but you have communication. We have all the aspects that we consider during the conference. So I congratulate you to have this excellent program and speakers that you will have during this time. So before finishing, I would like to compliment the other members of the panel that will be interviewing in this open ceremony. Professor Sofia Cabral, Professor Pedro Saraiva, it's a pleasure to be here with you. And João, I hope that the conference will be successful. At the end, we will be more happy because you are more rich because of these discussions, of this presentation, of this interaction between the academia and the industry. And I hope all the best for the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Artur, one more time, and also for the beautiful awards that you tell us, and I thanks you also for the all support to give to this organization and for other subjects along of these years. Thank you. Now I give the word to Professor José Sérgio Cabral, as I said, the president of the Portuguese Association for Industrial Engineering. and management. Thank you again, the professor, that had to be.
So good morning. Good morning to everyone. First of all, many thanks to the organizing committee of the third International Conference on Quality, Innovation and Sustainability for the invitation to participate in this open session. It's really an honor to be here with you. And a warm thanks to our host, the University of Aveiro, and to its Vice Rector, Professor Artur Silva. A special compliment to Professor, my friend, Pedro Saraiva, one of the persons who has given and gives the most for the promotion of quality in Portugal. Finally, a word of sincere thanks to my colleague, Professor João Matias, to whom I owe my presence in this session. Looking to the conference program, and in particular to the topics that will be addressed during these 2 days, we have to conclude that this event could not be more timely. The combination of quality, innovation, and sustainability is in itself the agenda for the development and progress that our countries and the world really need now. But allow me to say a few words about the institution I represent. APGE is the Portuguese Association for Industrial Management and Engineering. It's a non-profit organization founded in 1985 by companies and universities with the following main objectives: to promote the development applications of new methods and systems relevant for industrial management engineering, to promote better education for managers and technical staff in order to continually improve management systems and processes, and to develop and cultivate stronger and fruitful relationships between companies and universities. Currently, APGE members include some of Portugal's leading industrial and services companies. As you can see from above, well, I said, our intents are entirely aligned with the topics that will be discussed in this conference. So I don't take many time for you now, but let's get ready to make the most of it and to learn from what we'll hear and discuss over these 2 days. Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure, Professor. Thank you. Professor Sérgio Cabral, it's one of the, like Professor Pedro Saraiva, is one of the faces of the quality in Portugal. Professor Sérgio Cabral, namely in statistical approach concerning to the methods, etc. Okay, thank you, Professor. Professor Pedro Saraiva will be the next president of APQ, Portuguese Association for Quality. Thank you again for accepting that to be with us. Please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and good morning to all of the participants in this very interesting conference. I'd like also to send my congratulations to João Matias and all of his team for having put together this third edition of the conference. I'm really happy also to see it happening at the University of Aveiro, and having the Vice Rector Artur Silva means that the university is engaged, and I know it is really engaged in such topics and in quality in general. So thank you also for being here. I also hope that in the future it will be possible to have this event back face to face, because something that I'm sure you'll enjoy lots of things in these 2 days, but you'll not have a chance of trying, I don't know, is it soft eggs in English? Ovos moles. It's a sweet from Aveiro that I'm particularly fond of, and that's a kind of thing we'll not be having this time, but maybe in the future that will be possible. And also, it's very good to see Sérgio Cabral again. We have done lots of very nice things together. We are very good friends, and now we are leading 2 different important associations in Portugal, and I always envy him, because being an emeritus professor is the kind of thing we all hope to do someday, right, in the future. But he's still very, very active and doing wonderful stuff, and that's very good news as well, and good to see him on this opening session. And I guess mostly, most of the key messages have already been said. I mean, what a better combination, right? Quality, innovation, and sustainability. And I think if you look into it, you need to multiply them. So it's not adding. If one of them is not there, then the product is zero. And today, building the future, I think it's quality times innovation times sustainability. And this is a very nice triangle that leads to better organizations, better countries, and a better planet. And we should not forget any of those because it doesn't make sense. In 2022, talking about quality without talking about innovation and sustainability does not make sense. And the same applies to the other two points or axes of this wonderful triangle. And that's the key, I would say, to something that we have been taking as a priority at the APQ, which is trying to reach qualitativity, which is a word coined by Hyundai, a well-known Korean company. Korea is the country we should look into. I mean, they were in our championship in the 60s, and now they're the most innovative country in the world. So that's possible if companies take into account in a very serious way this powerful combination of quality, innovation, and sustainability. And one of the key elements of the policy of Hyundai is exactly this word, qualitativity, achieving productivity through quality. And I think that that's what has been missing. I would say in this case, achieving productivity through quality, innovation, and sustainability. That's a little bit what we have been missing in Portugal and in other European countries. So that's what you'll be talking about in this today's, which is, I would say, the answer we have been looking for, but have not yet been able to deploy in Portugal. And that's why we see other countries getting richer than Portugal. It's as simple as that. If you look into the statistics, unless you solve this issue, that there are no miracles, right? So that's really something that I'm glad through the program that you'll be seeing from many different ways. It's also one of the key strategic priorities for the Portuguese Association for Quality that I'm very proud to be leading for this triennial. And there are wonderful things happening in Portugal in this field. So I invite you to visit our website, APQ. We have around 1,000 members. 500 of them are companies. 5 of them are individuals, so are open both to individual people interested in the quality and the contemporary quality interpretation, as well as different kinds of organizations. And we also have the APQ Awards. So there are awards for everyone that does good things in Portugal relating to quality. So if you go there, just apply, because we feel Portugal does not recognize good things. So believe that APQ should play that role as well. So all the way from research projects to best practices, we have a portfolio of APQ awards, and we are trying to leverage what is happening. Quality made in Portugal, make it seen and visible and well known outside of Portugal. Just to give you 2 examples, and we should be proud of that. In 2021, the European quality leader was a Portuguese guy, Carlos Ribas from Bosch. This year, the winner of the Portuguese quality leader competition run by APQ, Fernando Melo, who is in a Cork-related company, he is already a finalist of the European quality leader competition. After having won the Portuguese championship, now he's in one of the. So that's something that we should be proud of. There are lots of very good things that we'll be seeing. We should not be shy, and APQ is here to help to make sure that good practices from Portugal are recognized both by APQ and abroad. Or if you want to see another example, I think Europe needs to be concerned, not just Portugal, about what is happening in the quality of movement around the world. And there is a recent project carried out by the European Organization for Quality. I'm also vice president of EOQ, which is the recognition of European quality. If you have good products manufactured by good companies in Europe, you can get the European quality trademark seal. There are already around 10 products recognized as such in Europe, and 2 of them are from Portugal. So once again, the same thing. the domestic water heaters that are produced close to University of Aveiro were the third product to be recognized as being amongst the best European products we have available. The second one has got with the kid seats for bicycles. It's Polysport, another company located close to Aveiro, which is the world leader in producing this kind of seats for kids that want to share the cycling experience with their mother or their father, and they're once again the sixth company to get this recognition. So that's the kind of good message of what is happening in Portugal. And I'm sure these 2 days will be 2 days for you to share experience, to celebrate, to apply for further recognition. APQ is here to help you as much as we can. And we have a strategic motto which states that quality is all of us. So it's not just for experts in the field, it's for anyone that wants the world to become a better place through quality, innovation, and sustainability. That's the kind of space APQ is very proud to work in. And therefore, this is a very nice event that I'm very proud to be sharing, at least for the opening ceremony. And I saw the program, it's really a fantastic program. So I'm sure you'll make the most and enjoy these 2 wonderful days, which deal with most of the topics I might think that are worthwhile thinking and sharing for the present and future of Portugal and Europe as such. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for these 2 days of discussion.
Thank you very much, Professor. After these last words, I would like to thank and also to say that you are not only expert in quality, but also as marketeer. And thank you very much. Not, I would like to say that. And concerning to the ovos moles, in the front page of the journal of today, one musician said that the ovos moles was the inspiration for one cover of the music album. Ovos moles is present in all. Okay, thank you. We are at the time, and I would like to thank you again for your presence, and on behalf of my colleagues, it was not possible to have best speakers in this open section. I thank you again for your participation. The next will be the PRIO moment. I will give the word to our student and PRIO internship, Rita Limas. She will use the 3-4 minutes to present a video related to PRIO, and after we have the roundtable powered by PRIO. Thank you, Rita.
Actually, I would like to give the word to Christina. She's the director of innovation, and I think she will tell you better what a pleasure it is for PRIO to be sponsoring this event. But I think before that, Francisco will share this video.
O sonho nasceu da vontade de produzir e fornecer combustíveis de alta qualidade a preços low cost. Guiados pela coragem, inovação e competitividade, traçamos o nosso plano passo a passo em direção ao futuro. 12 anos depois, estamos cá para lhe contar a nossa história. Desenvolvemos o que começou com apenas 2 postos de combustível e hoje a PRIO conta com mais de 250 postos, 750 funcionários e 2 milhões de clientes mensais. Com um crescimento de 22% ao ano e 1.100 milhões de euros em vendas, conquistamos 10% de cota no mercado português. Ao longo destes anos, expandimos a nossa estrutura e construímos a fábrica de biodiesel mais sustentável da Península Ibérica, onde quase 100% da produção é feita a partir de óleos alimentares usados. Através da nossa fábrica, fornecemos alguns dos grandes operadores da Europa. Construímos também o parque de tanques para armazenamento de combustível e abastecemos 30% do mercado norte de Portugal através do terminal de combustíveis de Aveiro. Atualmente existem mais de 8.000 empresas que utilizam o nosso cartão frota, usufruindo de descontos especiais e de um portal dedicado que permite aos clientes monitorizar os consumos em tempo real. Desafiamos o setor a ser sustentável, inaugurando o primeiro ponto para carregamento de veículos elétricos e hoje a PRIO tem mais de 180 pontos de carregamento elétrico e cerca de 1.900 revendedores de gás. Sempre com vontade de melhorar e de inovar, criamos ao longo dos anos uma vasta gama de produtos e de serviços para os nossos clientes. Pensando no seu bem-estar, criamos ainda a PRIO Pharma, uma área especializada na venda de medicamentos não sujeitos à receita médica, e a PRIO Go, uma aplicação que permite pagar o combustível através do smartphone. Na PRIO, produzimos, transformamos e distribuímos combustível de alta qualidade, e é isso que nos permite ter preços extremamente competitivos e acessíveis. Agora, queremos continuar a crescer e continuar a levar a nossa energia a todos os portugueses. Faz parte desta energia.
Thank you very much. Good morning, you all. Thank you for assisting to this video that shows who we are in PRIO and what have been doing for the past 15 years. I would just like to say a few words before passing the word to Professor Margarida Coelho, that will be the moderator for our roundtable. So first, I would like to thank you to Professor João Matias for the invitation to be one of the sponsors of this conference. And it's with a great pleasure and honor that we support this event and that we are here. Thank you for the opportunity to have the PRIO's moment, the roundtable on such an important theme for us. And actually, we thank for the world. Thank you, Professor Artur Silva and Professor José António Cabral for hosting this event, and thank you for the opportunity. I'd like to also to give my best regards to the other members of the scientific committee and the direction, and of course to thank Rita Limas and Francisco Vieira for the organization and for all the work they had to put all this together, and especially to Rita that managed the organization of this roundtable. I think it's the first of her working life, and she has been doing a great job. And very, very soon she will be one of us. So one engineer that will be for sure have a very successful work life. So regarding the team, just a few words. When Professor João Matias gave me this opportunity of designing or proposing a team for a roundtable or for a moment, we immediately thought of this, the shipping, the maritime decarbonization, because we think that's a very important subject to be discussed, and that has the topics of this conference, so the quality, the sustainability, and the innovation are all present in the development of new solutions for this problem that we face in the shipping industry. So that's why we chose this team. We have been working for 2 years now, quite intensively in this area. So for many years, we dedicated our activity to the road transportation sector. And very recently, so more or less 2 years ago, we started to look into this maritime area, and actually the challenges are much bigger than in road transportation. So I think you will agree with me after the roundtable that we will have in a few minutes. I'd like to thank you to all the members of this roundtable. I will not present, Professor Margarida will do that, but thank you all. They all accepted our invitation with at first, so it was very good to see the enthusiasm they have to be here today with us, discussing this theme that they work in their day-to-day life. So I'd like to finally to thank to Professor Margarida Coelho that accepted this invitation for being the roundtable moderator. She is an assistant professor with habilitation in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and she's also the vice director of the Center for Mechanical Technology and Automation in the University of Aveiro, and she is the scientific coordinator of the research team on smart mobility at the Department of Mechanical Engineering. So I think she has very good skills to be moderating this roundtable. We have been working with Professor Margarida in a few projects regarding the port decarbonization and also the maritime decarbonization. So I think she's the best person to be moderating this roundtable. Thank you very much for all the participants, and I hope this will be a very fruitful event for all. And thank you again for the opportunity to be here.
One second before to give the word to the Professor Margarida, I know very well. I would like to tell concerning to Dr. Cristina, she's a PhD in chemistry, I think.
Chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering. I know her 2 years ago, and I would like to say that the PRIO group has not only PRIO energy, but Cristina Correia energy. Okay. Thank you.
So good morning. I think it's my role to start sharing this session. First word to Cristina Correia and to Rita Limas from PRIO because of the kind invitation that they made to me. It is always a pleasure to collaborate with PRIO in, as Cristina mentioned, several proposals and several initiatives. Also, my warm regards to my colleagues, João Matias, Carina Pimentel, all the organizing committee and scientific committee of this conference. So congratulations for the organization of this online conference. Also, good morning to the Vice Rector of Research, Artur Silva of the University of Aveiro, and to all the attendees of this conference. So it is a pleasure to start sharing the session on maritime decarbonization. We will have, I hope, a very interesting and live discussion on several topics. Just some housekeeping intentions. So basically we will have a set of discussion between me and the 7 speakers that we have here, 7 participants, but we will save a period for your questions, the audience questions, so you can put in the chat, also on the chat of the YouTube, and also if you want to raise your hand and speak, we will have a certain period for those questions. So I will start presenting, and Cristina, thank you, already made my presentation, so I'll start presenting the speakers of this session. So basically we'll have 7 speakers, as I said. Angel Alberdi, so he is the Secretary General of European Waste-Based and Advanced Biofuels Association, EWABA, since its creation in 2013. So this association is a trade association promoting the interests of the waste-based and advanced biofuel industry. And Angel has been working in the European Union government and institutional affairs in Brussels for over 13 years, with a particular focus on biofuels, renewable energy, transport infrastructure, and also institutional and legislative matters. He started his career at the European Commission Secretariat General. Then he worked to a consultancy, to association European Biodiesel Board, and also a global law firm. And he holds MA in European Interdisciplinary Studies with a major in EU governance from the College of Europe. Then the second participant is Sofia Ventura. She has a master's degree in finance with a brief period at University of Applied Sciences in Munster. And she also holds a degree in management, and both are from the University of Aveiro. And she started her professional career in the consultancy, HM Consultores. She made projects regarding financial and economic viability. She prepared several national applications for projects. And later she joined APA, the Port of Aveiro, namely the strategic office of the Port of Aveiro, where she's responsible for the project management. So welcome, Sofia, to this roundtable. We have also TELMO Ferreira. He has a bachelor degree in economics and a master's degree in finance, and both from the Catholic University of Portugal. And he first started the career in the banking sector as a risk manager, and then he jumped to the paper pulp industry, and more recently in the energy field in PRIO. So basically, his interest in the shipping industry made him to embrace the project PRIO since 2019. Then we have Pedro LEMOS. He's a merchant maritime captain since '94. He has a diploma of specialized higher studies in maritime management and technologies. He's a senior pilot of Aveiro piloting department, and he's the port coordinating director in the Port of Aveiro since 2017. And we also have JORGE ANTUNES. He's a technical manager and owner of Tecnoveritas, which is a company of services of engineering and systems technology. He is also a lecturer at maritime engineering and naval architecture at various universities and institutes in Portugal, UK, and Singapore. He is visiting lecturer of the World Maritime University in Malmo, and he's a lecturer in the Portuguese Nautical College Marine Engineering course. And as technical manager of Tecnoveritas, he's supervising all the engineering activities related with the services of engineering offered to the market. He's also involved in research and innovation projects. And finally, we'll have Marisa CALHOA. She's the Secretary General of ABA, that stands for Association of Bioenergy, Advanced Bioenergy. And she's the Secretary General since the creation of the association, the association in 2019. This association is a non-profit association that promotes bioenergy and the energy transition towards a more circular economy. And basically, she started her career in the multinational Petrobras, and she was namely the director of the geology in the exploration area. And she has a degree in geology and a master's degree in petroleum geology from the University of Coimbra. So we have this interesting set of participants. I will start asking a question and discussing with Angel Alberdi. And basically, in your opinion, what are the challenges? We are talking about decarbonization. So what are the challenges of decarbonization, the world's most global industry? So basically, how can we balance the increasing demand of global trade with the goal of decreasing the greenhouse gas emissions? So how can we make this equilibrium, and how can advanced fuels have an important role in this subject?
Thank you so much, Margarida, from your introduction and your question, and also thank you so much to the organizers for inviting me here today. It's really a pleasure to be among such bright experts in the field of marine decarbonization. Also, thank you for letting me breaking the ice today. I think it's a very good and at the same time difficult question. Yeah, undoubtedly, I mean, the marine emissions are quite significant when it comes to global GHG emission. It's estimation says around 3%. Well, we should be just aware of the fact that the vast majority of the goods we consume nowadays actually rely on maritime transport. So basically, the international global trade is based on maritime transport. And despite of I mean, recent hiccups on how global supply chains work, I mean, this is only set to increase. So, I mean, if we want to achieve well, net zero decarbonization across the economy, well, at least the European economy, we do have to reduce maritime emissions drastically, relatively quickly, or as soon as possible. Now, the EU has set very ambitious targets for carbon neutrality in 2050, with intermediary sub-targets in 2030, 2035, etc. And in this context, decarbonizing maritime is a key objective. I'm wary of the fact that I'm talking about the EU, but indeed we are talking about global trade. So well, I mean, international efforts or measures taken at the international level would need to be taken for sure. But I know more about the EU measures. Well, we all know that the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, has set recently well, a reduction of sulfur limits in maritime fuels effective from 2020. And there are a number of provisions at the EU level that, well, I think we will all discuss during the today's conversation. But going to which options we have and the challenges, I think there are broadly three ways to tackle emissions in the maritime sector. The first one will be increasing energy efficiency. There is quite a lot that you can do for ships to actually consume less fuels, and that's at the level of the engines, etc. So engine optimization, but this obviously is pro futuro because it requires actually modifying or either building new ships or completely modifying the engines. This is expensive. This is again stuff that you can do I mean, you will be able to do more and more in 10, 15, 20 years. But the second measure will be, well, again, build ships that are electrical or zero emissions, right? And this is also the same as in road. A solution, but it has challenges because, I mean, first, this is still in development. It will need to, you know, to be more widespread, a more better performing technology. It will eventually happen, especially for shorter ship trips. But what happened with long intercontinental trips with large vessels? So this second solution is also in the making, looking at the future. But again, we need to reduce emissions right now. So here is where renewable fuels play a major fundamental role, and I think this is where our association can speak with knowledge and with experience that the increasing the share of renewable and low carbon fuels in the existing maritime fuel mix is a quick, cost-efficient way to decarbonize the transport sector. And then you have, again, two broad families of fuels you can use, e-fuels from hydrogen and ammonia, but these are, again, not well, not completely developed, certainly not produced in commercial quantities. They will play a role in the future. So we end up with what's the best and actual actually available solution to decarbonize the transport sector, that is waste-based biofuels that can be used and are being already used, dropping without any engine modification in vessels in Europe. And several of our members, PRIO and others, are already supplying these fuels to the maritime sector. In particular, again, waste-based, using waste fats and oils, lipids, used cooking oil, animal fats, and other advanced waste and residues. So these are the solutions. I don't know if I have an extra minute to just pretty much name drop the challenges I think we have out there, and the challenges are common to all of these solutions, but they would be relevant to a different degree on each of them. And the first challenge, I guess many of you will agree, is price, because the traditional fuels used in the maritime sector have traditionally been the cheapest of them all. So of course, well, transportation companies are used to certain prices, and then renewable fuels are more expensive. Second challenge, and is related to price, is technological development. As I said, many of these solutions are either developing at the moment, or they will need to actually develop and get widespread and get more marketable, and this also has a direct impact on price. And very quickly, I mean, from the perspective of waste-based biodiesel, I think the availability of feedstocks for these fuels is also relevant, because this is tied to how the legislator is promoting them. I think the most efficient technologies to produce waste-based biofuels should be the one promoted, that should be the ones using limited feedstocks, and we are currently engaging in intense discussions here in Brussels to ensure that this occurs. Finally, and I'm happy to elaborate this later on during the Q&A, enforcement, it is a key element of the equation, because I mean, if you just have legislation in the vacuum, but you cannot make economic operators comply with the provisions, then at the end of the day, basically you have nothing. So this is my very brief take on the outline of the needs and the challenges for maritime decarbonization, and I look forward to the debate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel, for bringing the European perspective, and passing now to the Portuguese perspective. I would ask to Ana Marisa CALHOA. So do you think Portugal has been working towards achieving the goal of being carbon neutral by 2050, and namely regarding the shipping industry, what has been done in your point of view?
Well, first of all, I want to thank for this invitation to participate in this roundtable, and to all the organizing committee of the Third International Conference, Qualities in Innovation and Sustainability. Good morning to everyone, and especially, of course, to our moderator, Professor Margarida Coelho, and to all the participants in this roundtable. And I hope that at the end of the conference will help us all to understand better how we can decarbonize the maritime sector. So, answer your question, I think so. I think Portugal has been working towards achieving the goal of being carbon neutral by 2050. Portugal has already prepared a long-term strategy for the climate and energy transition. And here I'm talking about the carbon neutral roadmap. I'm talking about the National Energy Climate Plan and so on. So I think Portugal has that potential to achieve this goal of being net zero. But of course, for all of these, we still have a long way to go. And I believe that the principle of technological neutrality must prevail in this matter. If we want to achieve that, if we want to be neutral, we must allow all the renewable solutions contribute to the carbon neutral. And I think this roadmap should be updated soon. And I hope, of course. Well, biofuels are essential for the decarbonization of transport mode, and they are a quick and accessible solution for all of us. And this is very important. It's important to reduce the consumption of fossil fuels and replace them with other energy sources, including, of course, the advanced bioenergy in the incorporation of fossil fuels. Here we are talking about waste, and the waste collection and processing industry has played a key role, not only in creating energy and that contributes to achieve the decarbonization targets set by Europe, of course, but also to the protection of the environment, because we are talking about waste that is often harmful and which contaminates soils, water, and so on. Because of this, we believe, and I believe, that using them to produce biofuels is the best possible solution. So I think in this industry facilitates waste management and uses what we consider waste to produce biodiesel, which compared to fossil fuels emits up to 90% less GHGs. Nowadays, it's unthinkable to consider the future without thinking a mixed technology solution approach, a mixed solution approach which low carbon and zero carbon fuel solutions will help us to limit the effects of climate change. I think this integration of advanced biofuels in this energy mix comes from the knowledge that this alternative would allow us to reach the carbon neutrality sooner and go behind the goals set by European Union while shortening the path to Portugal energy independence. So in recent years, there we have several signals indicate that decision makers better understand the importance role of advanced bioenergy in transition. So I think what we are seeing for the future is the combination of different renewable sources. In mobility, we believe that higher blends will be a reality and necessity, not only for the ability of decarbonization mobility, but because they are possibly the impact of environment and economy through the promotion of, and here we are talking about circular economy, job creation, national production, waste recovery, valorization, and so on. So the use of these sustainable biofuels should continue to be promoted in all modes of transport, as the road, sea, air, it's all of the transport. So maritime transport has an impact on the entire supply chain, has 80% of global goods are transported across the sea, accounting 2-3% of global GHG emissions annually. So I think it's very urgent to decarbonize this sector. Currently, all Europe are discussing a lot of legislative package. We have the RED 3, 455, Fuels Europe that had a maritime transport, energy taxation directive, and during the last year, important steps were taken by the transposition of RED 2. We still don't have it. Portugal and some member states haven't published yet this transposition, but it'll establish the targets for the present decade in all member states for Europe Union. So we believe that this legislative update will mark a turning point of validation of waste and other advanced biofuels as an essential part of the Europe transport decarbonization strategy. So I think with all of this directive will drive us to the neutral carbon by 2050. And I think, and I hope, of course, that soon we'll have the regulation need to decarbonize the maritime transport. I think it's very important to have that.
Thank you very much, Anna Marisa, for your intervention. And if you're just joining us, we are in the Maritime Decarbonization Roundtable of the International Conference on Quality, Innovation and Sustainability. So feel free to put your questions in the chat box and later we'll give floor to those questions. And I will pass immediately to Jorge Antunes, and I would like to see from your perspective, in the short term, do you believe incorporating a greater greater percentage of advanced biofuels, such as biodiesel from waste raw materials, will be the main solution to achieve the lower levels of CO2 in the shipping sector? And what barriers do you foresee for this implementation?
Good morning to all. Thank you very much for your availability and the opportunity to say something about this. Are you listening? Okay. Okay, great. So, in fact, you know, dreams are a lot bigger than reality. Okay, so it looks that, coming back to your question, yes, it is together with the ship energy optimization and operation. It is the only way to start immediately. So people is talking about fuel cells, about hydrogen, about ammonia. First, just to give you the picture and how the biofuel is a very good opportunity to do the decarbonization. So ammonia, for example, with this war in Ukraine, became a precious product. Okay, so it is mainly produced for fertilization and for fertilizers production. Okay, so the bigger factory in Europe and the bigger in the world was located in Russia by German interests. So due to the embargo, there will be no ammonia for everybody. Okay, I'm just trying to design a picture of this. Then we saw ammonia. So this is the buzzword right now, but the ammonia that is available for the projects of ammonia for the maritime sector are basically controlled by two big companies, and both of them, they are shipping companies. So these companies, Maersk, AP, Molen, Maersk, so they decided to invest a lot many years ago, or some years ago, in building their own production capacity for their own fleet. Okay, so ammonia does not exist for the common of the ship owners. Then there are no engines to burn such fuels. So what is the beauty of this biofuel solution? Is that at least in a certain percentage, up to a certain percentage, typically about 20% biofuel, incorporated on the hydrocarbon fuel, so say the B20 or B15. This is something that can contribute immediately to the decarbonization, as all the engines at sea, they can burn this fuel without a major problem. The other point that is quite interesting to look at is that, okay, how can we have available these biofuels? So this is the most immediate solution for all the ships. And regarding to the people that is thinking about circular economy, okay, we need to understand that the world fleet is more than 15 years old. Okay, 15 years old. This means that these ships are too new to throw away and are too old in terms of emissions. So, and again, what I'm trying to stress is that this is the solution, immediate solution for the existing fleet. The other point is some people, and especially the Chinese government, is offering ships for peanuts. Okay, so if you like to buy a ship, you knock the door of the shipyard, and they will tell you, okay, we do your ship for free, and then you pay us a rent for 10 years or whatever until the payment of complete payment to the shipyard. And this means that nobody is taking into consideration the emissions of dismantling one ship and building another one. And from the industry, what I have been looking at is that despite the ships are new, most of the ships are not energy optimized. So again, if it's to be on the same picture, on the same rhythm as before, and then the only situation or how to say contribution for the decarbonization will be the use of biofuels. I don't know if this is definitely at the same time with operation, with a proper operation. And now one word for the ports is that the ship operation in terms of emissions, okay, emissions related to the operation of the vessel. So the vessel does not operate without the port. Just few vessels do that. Okay, so ports are a fundamental piece of this game. Okay, so if one ship goes from Lisbon to Porto de Leixões, okay, and has to go fast to get their slot, imagine at 9 o'clock morning. So probably he's sailing at the speed of 16, 18 knots, okay, to get Lisbon from the late afternoon to, okay. So the idea is that if this ship can go slowly to get the port slot on time, instead of sailing at 18 knots, it may be sailing at 14. And this makes a lot of difference in terms of emission because power is proportional to the speed to the cube. Okay. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you very much for your interesting perspective. And now I would like to explore a little bit a project called EcoBunkers. So this is a partnership between PRIO and Port of Aveiro. So I'll start by Sofia from the Port of Aveiro. So we know that PRIO and Port of Aveiro have been working on this. So can you tell us how this partnership on EcoBunkers started and how did the process of implementing this project going on?
Hello, good morning. First of all, thank you to Margarida for the introduction and PRIO for the invitation. So this partnership started with another project in the beginning of 2021 that APA coordinated a routine application that had a lot of partners. The main goal was to decarbonize ports, and the decarbonization of ports, of course, involves not only ports but a lot of stakeholders in the port community that are related to the port. Here today are two of those partners, PRIO and University of Aveiro. And PRIO was a coordinator for one of the tasks, which in part included the initiatives that are now being implemented in these EcoBunkers. So as I said, for the decarbonization, it's a long way to go. So this project did not get funding, but was fundamental to shape the strategy for the energy transition of the Port of Aveiro, that with the help of the work done in this project was shaped in a formal document. And one of the main objectives includes the provision of new advanced biofuels with low or zero emissions to the port community. So this partnership is very important to help us achieve this goal. This partnership also started right after the beginning of that one project, and the work done is very implemented. So it started on the second quarter of 2021. And we started with the begins eco bunkers, first in the port equipment. That was right after, and now it's being implemented in a pilot vessel and soon also in a tugboat. Of course, with all the innovations, I think, in the face of the unknown, there is also a little bit of resistance for the ones that don't understand or have some doubts about the new product. So it's needed as very well explanation, very well written and explained technical information to show the advantage of this new product. As I said, as some of you said before, the engine compatibility must be assured. So, and also as the question related to costs, that we face the time that the decarbonization has to be the main goal to be into account for the next generations. So we have to make this path together. So for us to move on, there was obviously, we had to share a lot of information, answer some questions, and really show the advantage of the implementation of this new product. And this is the way to go. So all the stakeholders involved were willing to carry out this test.
Did you finish, Sophia?
Yes, sorry.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much for your perspective. And I would like to hear a more operational, let's say, perspective from Captain Pedro Lemos. So have you been experienced any difficulty with this, with using this new solution, the EcoBunker solution? And do you think that in the short term, is it possible to increase the number of ships using it?
Good morning to everyone, and thank you for the invitation for this conference. It's very important to speak more about these new solutions. And I want to start to say that the administration of the Port of Aveiro is always willing to welcome and work on new solutions, especially regarding to the decarbonization of maritime sector. The use of eco bunkers in Port of Aveiro has gone well. In such a way that we have a port operator in the Port of Aveiro already request the installation of a tank for biodiesel, and thus directly supply their equipment. I think this is important to say because it's a goal achieved, the first goal achieved. For ships, as Jorge has said before, Jorge Antunes has said before, shipping needs above all to experiment and consolidate the reliability and of such a solution. As well, it's important also to say an extended supply network. That's why Jorge Antunes has related before. I think in first phase, it will be better to bet on national cabotage vessels. That means short sea trips between for this eco bunker from PRIO, Portugal, between the Portuguese ports. Aveiro is always on the first phase of this issue, and is working as an influencer in partner with the PRIO in order to clarify and to give trust to the maritime sector of using the biodiesel. That's all.
Thank you very much, Captain, by your words. And I'll pass also under this discussion, I'll pass to TELMO FERREIRA to present us or to say some words on the perspective of PRIO. What is the difference between these products, these eco bunkers, and other maritime fuels like heavy fuel oil and others, and what are the benefits in your perspective to the environment when we use these eco bunkers, namely on decreasing greenhouse gas emissions levels, and if it is not only in terms of technology, but in terms of promotional and social acceptance of this new fuel. I would like to hear from you, what are the barriers that have you encountered on that?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the question, Professor Margarida. First of all, allow me just to say a few words. The initial video and Christina already made a great introduction, but I must say that it's also a pleasure to be here, an honor to be part of this panel full of great speakers with such a vast and solid knowledge on the topics that brings us here today, concerning shipping and sustainability and the related challenges that this sector is going to, and in fact is already facing. Still, before going through your question, just let me also give a brief context regarding PRIO, because not sure if everyone knows, but PRIO's headquarters are located in Gafanha de Nazaré, within the port of Aveiro, where we also have our biodiesel plant. And so for us, it makes total sense, perfect sense that taking into account all the expertise that we have been building throughout this last decade and what we have already made and contributed in terms of sustainability in the automotive sector, that we are also willing to extend our roots towards an active role in the maritime decarbonization, aiming to be again in the forefront of the energy transition in the shipping sector. So finally, regarding your question, advanced biofuels are the base of our solutions for the maritime sector. And explaining it in a simple way, advanced biofuels are produced from residual feedstocks, and it is a product of circular economy. In a life cycle perspective, basically we are consuming a product that is a result of a residual recycling process, as the used cooking oils, the UCOs, that already had a life, that's already had a carbon impact, and now we are giving them a new life, a second life, indeed. So with increasing demand for quality and eco-friendly fuels, PRIO in fact developed eco bunkers. Eco bunkers as a 15% blend of biodiesel from residual feedstock produced in PRIO's biodiesel plant and blended also in the PRIO's tank terminal. For everyone to be aware, PRIO is active in the use of waste for biodiesel since 2013, and it's now adding with success. It's important to say it's now adding with success to its used cooking oil specialty other waste feedstock. So it is today one of the largest producers of sustainable biofuels from waste in Europe. Again, important to highlight that side by side with our biodiesel plants, we have our bulk liquid terminal, and both are located in Aveiro ports, with a total storage capacity of more than 1,000 cubic meters. So, hence, regarding eco bunkers, we control the full production process of eco bunkers. We control the final specification so as to fully comply with all the standards of high quality marine gas oil. And also, I must say that this flexibility of this blending process allow us to scale up the production as demand comes. So it is an important advantage to provide the necessary support to our marine clients on their energy transition efforts and meet their specific goals. Again, we have also a zero diesel solution, which is a solution free of fossil fuel and 100% biodiesel from residual feedstocks. In this case, suitable for maritime fleets seeking for higher sustainability goals. So I believe that you have mentioned also a comparison to other fuels. High sulfur fuel oil, very low sulfur fuel oil, and ultra low sulfur fuel oil. Those are fuels that differ between them in terms of sulfur content. We have the high sulfur with 35% of sulfur content, VLSFO with 0.5, and ultra low with 0.1. So regarding sulfur content, as we should know, sulfur oxides are harmful to human health, causing respiratory and lung diseases. So the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, established a new limit on the sulfur content used on board by ships, which was a significant milestone to improve air quality and preserve the environment and protect human health. Known as IMO 2020, the rule limited the sulfur in the fuel oil used on board by ships to 0.5%. Also to give an idea, a study on the human health impacts of sulfur oxides emissions from ships estimated that by not reducing the sulfur oxides limits for ships from 2020, the air pollution from ships would contribute to more than 500,000 additional premature deaths worldwide between 2020 and 2025. So a lot of reasons why we in PRIO never sold and supplied a vessel with any of the mentioned heavier fuels. Our values and missions are not in line with mentioned risks because also going through the social and the social impacts and the social questions issues, because reducing these harmful emissions will therefore improve the health of populations, especially those living near ports and coasts, and which is our case, our concern, and also our responsibility. So basically, it's like this. So to not go much in depth regarding this comparison between fuels, I will say that the benefits of eco bunkers, the benefits were regarding the reduction of emissions, the combustion efficiency, the sustainability. As already I believe Angel said, there is no need to additional investment. It's a drop-in biofuel, so there is a lot of the 18% reduction in terms of carbon emissions. Also the 10% reduction consumptions. There is a lot of important things that makes us to say that eco bunkers is the solution for now, that we are available now. As Jorge Antunes already said, we have the solution for now. We know that it will be a long path, but we are sure that this is the solution that all the ship owners can have now, and to face this challenge. Thank you. Sorry to extend a little bit, but there is a lot to say, and
we'll come back to this
okay.
subject in the second round of questions. Thank you, Telmo. The organization of PRIO asked me to share one video, because sometimes one image is better than 1,000 words, as we usually say. I don't know if you are. Let me just unshare, because I think I have to share the sound too. Are you watching the?
Yes, this video is to show a little bit that from the moment of collecting and to the ship supply, everyone can do it. All the families can do it, and we will just show how we can do it.
I'm sorry if I don't know if it is the internet connection from my side. Okay, it's not going on. Maybe we'll go further and we'll come to the video if we have the chance. I'll check if the internet connection can work better. So I will interrupt the sharing and I'll pass again to the perspective of the associations, now to MARISA, CALHOA again. So do you think in terms of regulation, do you think that in Portugal there is a lack of regulation regarding the usage of more environmental friendly or cleaner sources of energy in the maritime sector? And are there any incentives to do so? I would kindly ask all in this second round of questions, 2 to 3 minutes response in order to have time for giving the floor to the audience questions. But Anna, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Well, currently, Portugal doesn't have any regulation for the maritime transport, and it's very important and essential to have it as soon as possible. It's expected that with the transposition of the RED II, this mode of transport will contribute to a lot to increase the GHG, and that will be regulated. The consumption of energy and CO2 emissions of ships can be reduced by up to 75% through the implementation of operational measures and the use of existing technologies. So with that, I believe that waste-based and biodiesel industry can still accelerate its contribute to improve mobility, to support the European Union circular economy, and improve the environment and fuel quality standards of road and maritime uses. So today we don't have that targets for the road, today we have the targets for the road to transport, but we still haven't any target for the maritime transport. But as I said before in the first question, the European Union is working with a lot of different legislative fronts, discussing and working with some directives to be implemented in the next years. So I think Portugal and the other member states from Europe still have a long way to go, but I think they will make it. We need to, of course, for that we will need to work harder to have as soon as possible the regulation for maritime transport. We need to define the shipping targets if we want to achieve the neutral carbon in 2050. We need to accelerate the development of renewable solutions for maritime transport. And I think we can and we need to improve biofuels in maritime transport and higher blends too, because I'm always talking about higher blends, because I think they are very important. I think it's also important to remember the importance of all of this work of European Union that it's doing with this regulation. This regulation must be standardized in all Europe. The rules, I think the rules must be the same for all member states, avoiding structural and disruptive difference in the maritime market. If we look back, we can remember the progress made for the decarbonization of the road transports, and biofuels has been crucial for that. So what I expect that we learn how to do it and try to accelerate now. Until you don't have this regulation, why we don't use the renewable sources already in use to the shipping, like eco bunkers from PRIO and the other ones, to introduce in the road mandates. I think this measure could, if we use that to improve the decarbonization of the shipping and use that for all the global mandates that we have, it will help us to achieve and be more ambitious in our targets. That's and at the same time, we will work as an incentive tool for the maritime transport, because I think maritime sector will need the incentives to achieve these decarbonization goals. So to finalize, today we still don't have any incentive for this sector, but we will need to support the support of the development and investment in this industry. And I'm talking about biofuels, low carbon fuels, recycling fuels, and all the solutions, renewable solutions that we have, because at this time, I think they are the best and only solution for the decarbonization of the maritime transport. And that's all.
Thank you, Anna. And Angel, we know that the International Maritime Organization has very ambitious goals on decarbonizing the shipping sector. And we are also aware that the Fuel European Union Maritime Initiative regarding the increase of renewable and low carbon fuels in the mix of the international maritime transport. But what other efforts have been done in the European level? And in your perspective, is there any regulation missing?
Thank you. Yeah, again, a very spot on question. So let me start from the European level. So at the moment, we are discussing two very important new pieces of legislation within the Fit for 55 package. That is the Fuel EU Maritime, which was mentioned before, and the inclusion of the maritime sector in the ETS, the European Trading Scheme. And actually, and they both will face similar challenge when you look at well, the fact that emissions and the maritime sector is global in nature. So the RefuelEU is a instrument that puts forward a technology neutral mechanism, which is basically an obligation to reduce emissions in the maritime transport sector. Starting, this is a Commission proposal. It's going to be changed, but the proposal says you should start reducing 2% in 2025, and you should end up at 75 in 2050. And this pertains intra-EU trips, so from a EU port to a EU port, and then when it's trips from a EU port to a non-EU port, you have to cover half of the trip. The problem there is that the system, I mean, is related to enforcement. The system kind of may create an incentive for ship owners to refuel in non-EU ports, or just try to play with where do they refuel in trips that go from a non-EU port to a EU port to try to avoid the obligation. And I leave it there. Then we have the ETS. The ETS will include the EU maritime sector in the in a rather complicated way. It will create a new pillar of the ETS to well, essentially include the maritime sector into the EU cap and trade system. That would put essentially put a price tag on shipping emissions, and then you will need to, well, it will, at the end of the day, put an incentive, another incentive for the ship owners to actually invest in more clean solutions. But again, in this instrument, it's covering emissions from intra-EU trips, and then half of trips that go from an EU port to a non-EU port. But again, here, the ships can really look for ways to circumvent the system, and playing with this fact that you may that refueling can occur in a non-EU port. So again, both instruments are having the same flow, so the solution here would come, can only come from a global solution from IMO, the International Maritime Organization, and there is increasing pressure on IMO to deliver a kind of global solution. So that would be well, what may make the system more perfect. But again, I'm just presenting the issue. If we take what we have, and I think we should just be pragmatic and well, try to play with the cards we've been dealt. The EU is certainly trying to tackle maritime emissions with the Fuel EU proposal and the ETS. And what is clear, and it was well mentioned here today in very detailed terms, that waste-based and advanced biofuels are indeed low-hanging fruit, are the only solution that can provide a high reduction and is currently marketed. Other solutions are either developing or they are not as green as they seem, such as LNG, liquefied natural gas, or they have the issues, for example, that ammonia has, that was very well explained earlier today. So I mean, I think legislation at the end of the day will just enable for our industry to play a major role in the decarbonization of the shipping sector in the short and medium term. And I would just to conclude that the best possible solution from our perspective indeed would be the adoption of higher blends of waste-based biofuels in the maritime sector. I mean, and again, the organizers PRIO at 15%, they're eco bunkers. That's fantastic solution, but we can go even higher, up to 30 or potentially higher blends. And yeah, that would be the end of my intervention here. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'll pass to Jorge Antunes again. So in 3 minutes, can you explain in terms of technical aspects, what are the advantages and disadvantages of using the eco bunkers in terms of ship performance? Are there any differences, fuel consumption?
So we conducted some studies on using the different fuels from PRIO in test engine, and we found that we can get quite interesting reductions in fuel consumption, especially at certain loads. Also quite interesting reduction in particulate matter emissions and NOx emissions. Okay, so from my point of view, is the most ready available solution to decarbonize. Okay, so
excuse me, can you tell some numbers in terms of reduction of fuel consumption? Some
it depends very much. It depends very much on the engine load, but it was quite consistent to have differences of 3 grams per kilowatt hour. That is quite nice. In some higher loads, and this also depends on the blend that we have. So B15 is a conversion improver, so it makes the engine more efficient. That's why it burns better and the consumption is lower. And also it allows the emissions of nitrogen oxides to be slightly, well, not slightly, but somehow reduced compared with the B0. Okay, B0 is straight diesel. So what we found is that by adding a small percentage of biodiesel, we can improve the emissions and also the consumption regarding when compared to the B0. Okay. These results are consistent through all the biofuel concentrations, say, but it is important that the engines are also prepared to burn them. So up to B20, no problem at all. But if we like to go for a full B100, engines may need to be adjusted, and also there are some adjusted in terms of electronic injection. Okay, so B100 may not be easy usable for older engines, but B20 is 20% of carbon, you know, so that may be interesting. So this may be is easiest way to get without extra costs to have the carbonization of proportional to the quantity of biofuel. That's it. Is it clear? Okay.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. And I'll pass to Captain Pedro again, just to know your experience on the. I was wondering, do you think that ship owners are willing to change the current standard and start trying these cleaner types of energy, such as the solutions that we have been discussing today?
Well, I think, first of all, regulation and legislation is crucial for these matters. I would say that ship owners will be available to change fuel if it is mandatory, if it is reliable, and if it is economically compensated economically. I think that is still work of dissemination and trust to be developed, and also the regulation must be to all the world, not only in the European, because there is problems. The ships will avoid other ports in order to be aware of these obligations. If it is only in UA, it's important to the legislation must be global for this kind of matter. That's it.
Thank you very much. And Sofia, we are talking here mainly on biofuels, but in what other aspects can Porto Aveiro take action when it comes to decarbonizing the maritime sector?
I think that is already evident with the implementation of this partnership, that the port community and the other stakeholders, their involvement is essential for an effective decarbonization of all the transport chain. And that's why Port of Aveiro always try to encourage its port community to adopt sustainable and green measures that could lead us to decarbonization. And of course, besides supporting initiatives like this one, we, as I said, we have already stated an energy transition strategy that includes several goals to this end, like to promote the access to sustainable solutions, either by the provision of new advanced biofuels, like it's included in this partnership with low or zero emissions, or by the availability of green energy supply services. Those are the ones with more direct impact, I think, in the maritime sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Sofia. And last question of the second round, I'll give to TELMO, basically, since the eco bunkers and fuels with greater incorporation of biodiesel in general is more expensive than the regular fuel. How can PRIO manage not only the ecological benefit, but also the economic sustainability? But before you answer, let me just try to share again the video and see if my internet connection helps with that. As you can see it right now.
Thank you,
Professor. TELMO, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Professor. It was the video was important to show that this process, everyone can do it. This process starts at our homes. All families can do it in an easy way by delivering their used cooking oils at our retail stations. Everyone can contribute and have also an active role on the maritime decarbonization. So regarding the question, the last question, yes, of course, decarbonization has a cost. So everyone is waiting for the right incentives to align the economic and the ecological goals for sure. As already mentioned by all the colleagues here, within the Fit for 55, we have the Maritime Fuel EU initiative, which is a pack of measures developed to meet the carbon neutrality objective. So here we have also within the Fit for 55, we have the aim to incorporate the shipping sector within the carbon allowance systems that I will explain in short. There is a cap and trade system. In short, it consists in a maximum number of CO2 emissions attributed to the sector, a cap in which each ship owner will be allowed to emit a certain quantity of CO2. So if they exceed these CO2 allowances, they need to go to the market to buy the extra CO2. So, for example, before the war, each allowance was in market for 1 ton of CO2 was being traded at 100 euros. So it means that each ship owners will need to pay 100 euros to emit one ton of CO2 more. And this cap will also be progressively reduced in the future. We have also the Energy Taxation Directive, higher taxation for fuels with higher greenhouse gas emissions, that is also contemplated. In the fuel EU maritime, we have the carbon intensity indicator. So there are a lot of things that are being done. Now the path is more clear for all the ship owners, for all the players, and it is crucial to have a clear path for all the players. And to conclude, we strongly believe that we are already in a position to support our marine clients in their energy transition efforts. We have the solution for now. There is no need for engine modification. So yes, everyone is waiting for the right incentives. Of course, there is clearly an objective of stimulating the demand for sustainable alternative fuels. And we are here to waiting for the more clear path to help all the ship owners on their transition efforts in the shipping sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Telmo, and thank you all. We are reaching the final 10 minutes of our session. I would like to open the floor also to the audience questions. So please feel free to put them in the chat, or if you raise your virtual hand, I'll give you the possibility to ask questions. So we have here a very interesting variety of institutions, from the associations, European, Portuguese ones, to the companies, also the port sector. So please feel free to ask questions to our speakers. I kindly ask also to the organization if there are any questions through the YouTube channel, also translate them or transfer them here to the Zoom. There are no questions. So if there are no questions, I think we'll finish this session.
I don't know if
Professor Matias.
Oh, hello. Rita Limas, are you here with us?
She is around, yes.
I'm here, yes.
Rita, do you have questions from the YouTube?
No, I'm checking, and there are no questions from YouTube.
And questions, please. It is an important subject. Okay. No questions.
People are willing for having coffee to refill the caffeine level.
First of all, it was a very interesting session, a round table in this case, and all of you were very good. But I would like to thank, namely the excellence of the moderation by Professora Margarida. It is an expert in this kind of the subject. He has also expertise in communication and to moderate this kind of questions. I will try to build and to have questions concerning to that. I know that it is impossible to see that as a fashion. 4 months ago, probably the scenario or the picture was not very but different. Before the war that we have at this moment, everything that we talk is related to green and the use and the mandatory requirement concerning to the green and the sustainability, mainly have in mind the questions from the greenhouse emissions, etc. But after this kind of the questions, and of course this question is not only related the transport, in this case to the maritime transport. But when you look for the whole of the economical activities, and mainly to the electrical use of this sector of this energy, after the war, it's not possible for me to say that everything is changed, but we have become to the past. And for example, we have talking again about nuclear. We have talking, for example, but for example, the natural gas for me was a long time ago, or is a long time ago, a more friendly fuel, or not only in the way of transition fuel, but as an option. And my questions, or my general questions for you is, this war or this kind of the problems and the geopolitical concerns, what do you think about the influence of this kind of events in the evolution that we have in mind, but can be exchanged by this kind of the events, as I said?
Professor João Matias, is this question to each one of the members of
yes,
the round
each
table?
One
or
okay.
To a specific person?
No.
Each one. Okay,
each
so
one.
In 1 minute, Angel, do you want to start? Angel, are you there? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I mean, I'll just get back to something I mentioned during our my both interventions, which is the concept of the low-hanging fruit. And I mean, it's true the war has well, you know, had a major impact on our present. For example, we've been saying that everybody's discussing the Fit for 55 here in Brussels, but I mean, yesterday there was an energy council, and normally ministers would have been discussing, you know, RefuelEU, the revision of the Renewable Energy Directive, etc. But they didn't. They spent the whole meeting discussing about the war, energy independency, etc. And this will have an impact on the negotiation. So again, low-hanging fruit. I think waste-based and advanced biodiesel is a solution that I mean, and PRIO is a fantastic example of it. Can be used and is being used already today in vessels. This is reducing emissions today. So I mean, this is a solution that, well, will play a major role in decarbonating shipping in at least in the next 15 to 20 years, and we should all be aware to that, preach the word, and try to get the best possible regulatory system so waste-based biodiesel can continue decarbonizing the maritime transport sector in the EU and globally.
In this case, in your opinion, the show, but the transition must and go on independently of the speed.
Yeah, I mean, look, so the measures that are being set up at the European level are technology neutral. So, I mean, and are becoming more and more ambitious as we get to 2050. So, of course, we will play a role, but as time passes, other technologies will develop, and it's the concept of there is no silver bullet. So we will play a role, but other technologies, more scalable, electromobility, e-fuels, etc., they will, or especially as well, increase efficiency in new vessels will play a role. But I mean, but what do we do with, as you was said here today, existing vessels that are already like at sea? I mean, how you decarbonize those? You are not gonna invest millions in changing the engines. You should just invest a tiny little bit more in renewable fuels.
Okay, thank you. I will give the word to again to Professor Margarida, after Professor Cristina Correia, Energy, and after that we'll have a break. But we have a message from Francisco concerning to the YouTube channel from Luis Adiotti. I think this is the spelling. The roundtable has been engaging and informative. Well done, guys. Thank you. It's not my duty to say that, but I will give, in this case, the word to Professor Margarida and or Dr. Cristina. Dr. Cristina.
So thank you. I think we are reaching the end of the session. So thank you very much again for the invitation. It was a pleasure to moderate this session, to meet all these stakeholders, all these agents for the energy transition, namely on biofuels and on maritime sector. So I'll pass the floor to Cristina Correia, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you all. I hope you, I enjoyed very much. I think it was very interesting. Thank you very much to the speakers in this roundtable. Thank you, Margarida, for this great job, keeping the time and the subject always very well. Thank you. And I think we'll have a coffee break now. So we'll get back in 15 minutes, I believe.
Yes. Yes. We'll be having.
Sorry, Professor Joanna, please.
Okay. So we will be having a 15-minute coffee break, but while in the end, passing a short video, I invite you to see the video because it's very interesting. And at 11:15, we will be having our first keynote lesson from Professor Otávio Oliveira, which is entitled From Quality and Innovation to Sustainability 4.0. So see you at 11:15, but during that break, you may see our video. So many thanks for attending, and it was my pleasure to have you. Many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A história do Departamento de Economia, Gestão e Engenharia Industrial e Turismo escreve-se com um portfólio notável nas áreas do ensino, da investigação, da cooperação com a sociedade e da internacionalização. As 4 áreas do Departamento, que se interligam entre si, têm conduzido a sua oferta formativa a patamares elevados de qualidade, contando as suas médias de entrada entre as mais elevadas da Universidade de Aveiro e do país. Também a produção científica e a cooperação com instituições nacionais e internacionais fizeram do Departamento uma instituição fortemente respeitada e internacionalizada, com excelente reputação pelo mundo fora.
O sonho nasceu da vontade de produzir e fornecer combustíveis de alta qualidade a preços low cost. Guiados pela coragem, inovação e competitividade, traçamos o nosso plano passo a passo em direção ao futuro. 12 anos depois, estamos cá para lhe contar a nossa história. Desenvolvemos o que começou com apenas 2 postos de combustível e hoje a PRIO conta com mais de 250 postos, 750 funcionários e 2 milhões de clientes mensais. Com um crescimento de 22% ao ano e 1.100 milhões de euros em vendas, conquistamos 10% de cota no mercado português. Ao longo destes anos, expandimos a nossa estrutura e construímos a fábrica de biodiesel mais sustentável da Península Ibérica, onde quase 100% da produção é feita a partir de óleos alimentares usados. Através da nossa fábrica, fornecemos alguns dos grandes operadores da Europa. Construímos também o parque de tanques para armazenamento de combustível e abastecemos 30% do mercado norte de Portugal através do terminal de combustíveis de Aveiro. Atualmente existem mais de 8.000 empresas que utilizam o nosso cartão frota, usufruindo de descontos especiais e de um portal dedicado que permite aos clientes monitorizar os consumos em tempo real. Desafiamos o setor a ser sustentável, inaugurando o primeiro ponto para carregamento de veículos elétricos e hoje a PRIO tem mais de 180 pontos de carregamento elétrico e cerca de 1.900 revendedores de gás. Sempre com vontade de melhorar e de inovar, criamos ao longo dos anos uma vasta gama de produtos e de serviços para os nossos clientes. Pensando no seu bem-estar, criamos ainda a PRIO Pharma, uma área especializada na venda de medicamentos não sujeitos à receita médica, e a PRIO Go, uma aplicação que permite pagar o combustível através do smartphone. Na PRIO, produzimos, transformamos e distribuímos combustível de alta qualidade, e é isso que nos permite ter preços extremamente competitivos e acessíveis. Agora, queremos continuar a crescer e continuar a levar a nossa energia a todos os portugueses. Faz parte desta energia.